After looking at 2 American add-ons within the last week, I wanted to review one more UK locomotive and train simulator before going overseas again. At complete random, I chose an older add-on from the Caledonia Works range, namely the Caledonian Railway 944 class 462 tank engine. The 944 class was released for TS Classic in October 2018, and as of early April 2025, she is still available to purchase from CW's website for £15, or around $32.63 NZD at full price. It's unusual to see a tank engine with the 462 Pacific wheel arrangement, since I'm used to seeing it on tender engines like the LNER A4 class. And now for a brief history on the 944 class. This class was designed by William Pickersgill, and 12 examples were built by the North British Locomotive Company in 1917. They are notable for being the only 462 Pacific design ever operated by the Caledonian Railway, and initially worked on the Inverclyde line between Glasgow and Wemyss Bay. Their work hauling boat trains led to the locomotives being nicknamed Wemyss Bay Pugs by engine crews. Personally, I think that nickname is a little bizarre because, in the case of the Caledonian Railway at least, I normally associate the word pug with the little 264 class 040 saddle tank, and the 262 class for that matter. All 12 members of the 944 class became part of the London, Midland and Scottish Railways fleet upon the grouping in 1923. In the 1940s, they started to be displaced from Wemyss Bay services by newer LMS tank engines, such as the Fairburn 264s of 1945. Locomotives 15357 and 15358, formerly 951 and 952 respectively, were withdrawn in 1946, but the rest of the class survived long enough to become part of the British Railways fleet in 1948. The 944s spent their final years of service assisting trains up the climb to Beatwick Summit on the West Coast Main Line, with the final example being withdrawn from service in October 1953. Sadly, the 944s suffered a fate that was common to Caledonian engines, in the sense that none of them have survived into preservation. As for what you get in the pack from CW, we'll start off with the livery selection, which is as follows. Caledonian Railway Light Blue, LMS pre-1927 Crimson Lake, LMS 1927 Transitional Black, LMS post-1927 Lined Black, British Railways Plain Black with Gill Sans lettering, and BR Lined Black with the early crest. These locomotives never carried the late crest, as far as I know. Out of those 6, my favourite is either Caledonian Railway Light Blue or LMS Crimson Lake. The latter is partly because 2 of my 00 scale models are in this livery. As for the modelling, this is pretty good overall, and indeed, I've never seen a bad model from Mr. Wilson. Meanwhile, the texturing is noticeably different from his more recent releases. For comparison, here's the newer version of the Caledonian Railway 422 No. 123, released for TS in January 2024. To me at least, the textures on 123 look a lot cleaner than they do on the 944 class. As for the 944's features, these are decent considering the DLC's age, but CW and SimNation have significantly improved on features with their more recent packs, especially the locomotives with Locomotion 2.0 scripting, such as the Great Western Railway 1400 class. In the case of the big Scottish tank engine, her list of features includes, but is not limited to, numerous cab camera views, animated Westinghouse air pump, realistic wheel slip physics, and, as always, performance mode. The full list of features can be viewed on the products listing on CW's website. The older CW engines don't have low and max options in performance mode, only the basic on or off options. In any case, this is a useful feature for people with less powerful computers, because it turns off the firebox glow and other point lights. It can be toggled on or off by pressing Shift P. As for how to drive this locomotive, the keyboard controls are all listed in the manual, but there are no specific instructions on any driving techniques. However, I remember from driving the 600 class 080 that Caledonian engines need to be driven in a slightly different way from other UK steam locomotives. I discussed this situation in my review of the 600 class, which was published in February 2024. For the most part, I like driving the 944 class, but there are a few minor downsides I thought were worth mentioning. Firstly, the footplate is quite dark and the cab lamp doesn't seem to work. Secondly, the locomotive's water consumption is higher than I expected, so if you're going to drive this thing on a long run, then I suggest making sure that the route you're intending to use has a decent amount of watering points. And lastly, the 944s are not as powerful for their size as you might think, only getting a power rating of 4p under the LMS and BR. At the end of the day, and despite her features being less advanced than newer CW products, I still like the Caledonian Railway 944 class for her unique appearance. One of my favourite things to do with this engine is drive the BR Black variant along the Western Lines of Scotland route with some Mark I coaches and a wagon or two. I know it's unrealistic, but I still like the aesthetic. She may not be the fastest thing in the world, but I can see the 944 class appealing to people who like steam locomotives but don't fancy the more advanced packs. As for a rating, I think she deserves a 7.3 out of 10.